On the 26th of June, 2017, 22-year-old Pedro Ruiz III stood in the yard of his home in Hallstatt, Minnesota, held a hardcover encyclopedia against his chest, and asked his pregnant girlfriend to shoot him with one of the most powerful handguns on the planet. He genuinely believed the book would stop the bullet. It didn't. Pedro and 19-year-old Mona Lisa Perez were a young couple trying to build something. They had a 3-year-old daughter together. Mona Lisa was 7 months pregnant with their second child. They lived in a small rural town near the North Dakota border, and like millions of other young people at the time, they had turned to YouTube hoping to build an audience. Their channel, La Mona Lisa, had a modest following: pranks, family vlogs, lighthearted content that was getting a few hundred views at most. Pedro wanted more. His role models were Nitro Circus and Jackass. He wanted stunts. He wanted danger. He wanted the kind of content that made people stop scrolling. His aunt Claudia later told reporters, "He had told me about an idea, and I said, 'Don't do it.' 'Why are you going to use a gun?' he said. 'Because we want more viewers.'" Pedro had been planning his new channel for months. He was going to call it Damn It Boy. In his own words, "Everything I'm going to be showing you guys on this channel, you're going to be saying, 'Damn it, boy.'" The first video was going to be the one that launched everything. The idea was this: Mona Lisa would fire a .50 caliber Desert Eagle, a gold tiger-striped limited edition handgun that Pedro described on camera as a cannonball that could travel the length of 3 football fields in the snap of a finger, directly at a hardcover encyclopedia he would hold against his chest. Pedro was convinced it would work. He had tested it himself. He had fired the same gun into a different encyclopedia, and the bullet had only gone halfway through. He showed Mona Lisa that book as proof, as evidence that this was survivable, that this was just a stunt. What Pedro didn't tell Mona Lisa was that there is a significant difference between firing a gun at a stationary book on a surface and firing it at a book held against a human chest that absorbs the impact. Mona Lisa refused for over a month. For over a month, she told him no. She didn't want to do it. She was uncomfortable. She was frightened. But Pedro kept pushing, and eventually, she agreed. On the morning of the 26th of June, Mona Lisa posted on Twitter. She wrote, "Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." That tweet is still live today. It was the last thing she ever posted on that account. That afternoon, the two of them set up their cameras in the yard. Pedro presented the Desert Eagle to the camera nestled on a red velvet pillow. He explained the stunt, he explained the gun, and then he looked directly into the camera and said, "So if I'm going to die, I'm pretty much ready to go to heaven right now. If I die, I'll be ready for Jesus. He probably won't accept me into the pearly gates because of how stupid this is, but I have confidence that my girlfriend will hit the book and not me." Then he picked up the encyclopedia, held it to his chest, and told Mona Lisa to aim. What happened in the moments before the shot was captured in a transcript later released by the Norman County Attorney's Office. Mona Lisa was crying. She told him she couldn't do it. She said it more than once. She begged him to stop. Pedro told her she would be fine as long as she hit the book. He told her the camera battery was dying. He told her to come closer. "This is the moment of truth, babe," he said. "Safety's off." The transcript then reads, "A shot was fired. The bullet passed through the encyclopedia, through the 1.5 inches of hardcover pages that Pedro had believed would protect him, and into his chest." Mona Lisa called 911 immediately. "We were doing a YouTube video," she told the dispatcher. "He wanted to see if I could shoot his gun into a book, and it went and shot him, and it's all on recording." Pedro Ruiz III died at the scene before the medical helicopter could land. His 3-year-old daughter was present in the yard when it happened. Mona Lisa Perez was arrested that same day. She was charged with second-degree manslaughter. In December of 2017, she pleaded guilty. The Norman County attorney made clear that the stunt had been entirely Pedro's idea, that Mona Lisa had resisted it for over a month, that she had cried and begged him to stop moments before pulling the trigger. She was sentenced to 180 days in jail, 10 years of probation, a lifetime ban from owning firearms, and a permanent prohibition from ever profiting from telling the story of Pedro's death. The channel their videos had been on, which had never broken a few hundred views while Pedro was alive, surpassed 1 million views in the days after his death. The audience he had been chasing for months found him the moment it was too late. Authorities released the videos Pedro and Mona Lisa filmed before the stunt. The footage of the shooting itself, and everything that followed, has never been released to the public. It likely never will be. Pedro Ruiz III was 22 years old. He left behind 2 children, one of whom was born months after he died and never got to meet him. He wanted to be famous. He wanted an audience. He wanted to build something that his family could be proud of. And on the 26th of June, 2017, standing in his own yard with an encyclopedia against his chest. He got everything he asked for, just not the way he planned.